This week, we're just talking a little football. We also have player rankings at the end of the video for everyone who's making that playoff push. If you have any questions about players, go ahead and drop them in the comments. If you have disagreements as well, go ahead and also let us know what type of content you would like to see in the offseason. Justin and I have some ideas, but we'd also love to hear what you guys would like to see too.
All right, everybody, welcome back to week 14, week 1 of the playoffs. We got a good video for you today. Just want to thank everybody once again for all the subs, all the likes. You guys are incredible. We're just going to shoot for 200. We might not hit it this year, but it's okay. You guys have blown away our expectations. Can't thank you guys enough. And joining me this week, once again, he's back from COVID. Welcome.
Dude, it feels good to be back. Defeated COVID, just like our former president.
Nice.
Oh, who's in the building with us?
What?
Damn. Is that President Donald Trump? Oh, hello. Hello, Americans.
Fair, you've been gone.
Me and Greg defeated COVID. I don't know if it's a good idea to have a Donald Trump impersonation on the episode.
You've been gone 2 weeks. Already back on your bullshit. We're not editing that out. We're leaving that in.
These 2 weeks for COVID was practicing that impression for the show.
If you told me you'd never practiced that in your life, I would have believed you.
Damn. I don't know. I exclusively watched his cameo in Home Alone to practice my impression of him.
Was he really in Home Alone?
He actually was. I don't know which number.
That's crazy.
Fun fact for you though.
That's what makes America great, right?
Damn true.
Just
yeah.
The fact that our president could be in
Home Alone franchise.
I love little Macaulay Culkin. I guess we should get on into the episode though.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Let's start it off. My first question to you, and my question to all the people, is I want to know what your Super Bowl picks are. Who you got? Who's out? Who are you completely out on first? How about that?
Ooh, interesting.
A team that you thought would make it at the beginning of the year.
Probably the Bucks, I would say.
Oh, I'm so
that's
out
the
on
one
the
that,
Bucks.
Yeah, that's the first one. Because they were so hyped coming into the season. And then kind of adding Antonio Brown was a little more excitement throughout the season. I just don't think that they're going to pull it off. That's a tough division to go through. I don't think they got it. I don't know. Is that who you're out on would be?
Oh,
Bucks,
yeah.
or do you have someone else?
I'm super out on the Bucks. Honestly, I think I'm out on the Saints.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that way too. They definitely weren't going to be one of my Super Bowl teams. I can say that much. So
No
I guess
chance.
all of these teams I'm out on. We
Yeah,
can go through
touche.
the list and I'll
What
tell
about-
you on.
What about the Giants or Washington?
Damn, I don't know.
NFC
They're
East
my
team?
dark horse. Yeah, they're my
Oh.
dark. My dark horse is the New York Giants.
Dude,
Who's
honestly,
your dark horse, bro?
oh, bro. I'll go with Washington.
Yeah, actually, that kind of feels like a better pick. As I said, the Giants, I was like, oh, man. Washington, because they got a defense. Alex Smith, Alex Smith gushing blood out of his ankle. Didn't get to watch it because only 60% or only 40% of the population had access to that game.
That's why you illegally stream all of your games.
Not that we would do that,
No.
of course.
No.
But it's an option.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't do that.
No. Honestly, though, Giants, they would be my dark horse pick over the Washington football team. Not that they're actually my dark horse, but if I had to pick one of these trash-ass NFC East teams, I'm going to go with the Giants.
Why the Giants over? Would you say that I don't love that we're giving so much attention to these teams. Now I'm curious, what makes you go Giants as your dark horse?
Dude, bro, don't quote me on that. I think their defense is better than Washington's, personally.
Media's just been blowing the Washington's front seven like the past 2 weeks, so
Dude.
That's kind of what I'm riding at the moment.
They'll get stuck on anything. They'll be done with it after a while. Bro, tell me your Super Bowl picks, though. I'm fucking edging over here.
Okay, my Super Bowl picks. Do you want me to tell? I'll give you the matchup, and then I'll give you who I think the winner will be.
Okay.
And of course, this is also, it's a bit of what I want, but also kind of it's like what I hope, but like is realistic that it could happen.
Bro, I swear to God, if you say the Raiders.
No. I told you I wasn't going to do that. I was not going to do that. My pick is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Green Bay Packers, and then I'm gonna say that the Chiefs are gonna win that one.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I would love to see that.
We're
Just
overlapping.
I'd assume that I kind of figured. Well, what are your picks?
I also took the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
And I considered the Chiefs. I also considered the Titans. That was my
Nice.
that's my true dark horse.
Oh
But
yeah, nice.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Just the most complete team. I think they'll probably find their run game. That's a lot of wishful thinking, but if they have any semblance of a run game, they're gonna be unstoppable.
Okay. So your final pick is Steelers versus Packers?
Yeah. And then
who do you think's coming on top?
I just want Aaron Rodgers to win, so I'm gonna say Green Bay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like I want to see Aaron Rodgers in another Super Bowl. We don't got many more years of him left, so I feel like this has been one of the most enjoyable Aaron Rodgers seasons we've had, not only because of his success, but because of his Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays as well.
Oh, that shit is legendary.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't just go into media though after this.
I don't know if he will. I would love to see it though.
I think this was like a fucking genius transitional move. That's what I really think it was.
So he's referenced it in the show, like going on and doing other podcasts. And so he did a podcast with this comedian named Pete Holmes. He also had a late night talk show, fun fact, that was not very successful on TBS. Pretty annoying as a interviewer and as a comedian, I would say. Not a huge supporter.
All right. But really let
Aaron
me
Rodgers, know. Yeah. I don't think that you would enjoy his comedic style. His comedic style is just interrupt and have a goofy laugh. So not dissimilar from the Jimmy Fallon model. So I didn't mean to give you all of these hot, spicy late night talk show tastes, but the way the conversation has gone, it's just brought it out of me. Anyways, Aaron Rodgers was on his episode of a podcast, and he's a phenomenal guest. Super interesting, very insightful, highly intelligent. Yeah, I would love to see him hop in the booth one day.
Dude, unpopular opinion. I actually like watching AJ Hawk more than I do Pat McAfee. I like Pat McAfee a lot, though.
Does AJ Hawk have like a separate show?
No, just like when they have him on.
Oh, okay.
I think I just fit his personality a little more. Like he's just kind of quiet, but he's so sarcastic. Nothing he says is genuine. It's all bullshit. I love it.
Yeah. Pat McAfee can be overbearing too.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, you got to turn it down, but I guess you kind of have to be like that if you're going to run a show of that nature.
Yeah. True. Very true. Damn. I honestly, when you said that we had overlapping teams, I thought you were going to say the Chiefs, not the Packers.
I considered saying the same matchup as you. What's another NFC team that you would consider? I feel like we kind of didn't give them the love.
Yeah, I agree. My other options were the Seahawks.
Okay. I have no faith in the Seahawks.
My faith has kind of dwindled the past handful of weeks, I would say, which is why I ultimately didn't pick them. Then I would say next best would be the Saints and then the Bucks, but
okay.
Yeah, I didn't feel confidently about, like, I was like, if any of these teams had to go through Green Bay, I just don't see them coming out on top.
What about the Rams? They're 8-4. Cam Akers is starting to pick it up.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the Rams. They have a great defense. Oof. I think that would probably be my next pick. Instead of, I like them more than the Seahawks just because they're a more complete team, I think.
Okay.
Interesting pick, though.
Yeah.
Who would you have said next? Who's your runner-up in the NFC?
Probably the Saints, but like I said earlier, I just don't really trust them anymore. When Drew Brees comes back, it could be a different story, but we'll have to see. I think
they're still winning games, though. That's
true.
The thing.
I think the Vikings are a solid dark horse. They're hot right now. They got Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson's emerging as a star wideout. It's a good time.
Dude, Kirk Cousins did a little Pat McAfee interview. Did you catch that?
I saw the video, but I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. Is it a good one?
He is less interesting than Aaron Rodgers as a person, I would say.
Wow. I would have never guessed.
Yeah, that's just my final review is, okay. I don't know. He just seems like a white dad.
He wears New Balances.
Definitely. He's
Dude,
definitely has more personality than like I would have thought, but he was you can tell he doesn't do a lot of media. Like he
fair
doesn't have
enough.
like a media personality.
Gotcha. That was no disrespect on people who wear New Balances either. I used to rock a mean pair of New Balances in like for 3 years. Those
Hell
flat
yeah.
bottom ones that are kind of curled up on the toe. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
They're pretty
I
sick.
have no clue what you're talking about.
I don't know. I think they're 500 something.
Okay.
It's the problem
Were they
about
skate
naming.
shoes?
No, they were just random New
I guess
Balances I
this was
had.
pre New Balance skate endeavors.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, New Balance stuff's pretty nice.
Yeah, I kind of mess with it. I have a pair of New Balances that I was planning on trying to sell because I don't like love them, but I've had a few pair of New Balances. Not bad. Bro,
Fair
how the
enough.
fuck did we get here
Touche. All right, let's move on.
talking about New Balance?
I didn't want to disrespect anybody like that. Somebody's out there like, damn, I wear New Balances.
Oh yeah, true. Nice save. Got to pander to as many
No,
viewers as we can,
I
baby.
like the New Balances.
You know another brand we love? I was gonna say Airwalk, but
Extends.
that seems like extends. That was extends.
Oh, come on.
What? Oh shit, they're like a Viagra competitor.
I think, yeah, I think
Bro, you
so.
know me, I just don't have any problems with ED like you do, so I don't have these brand names off the top of my head. You know what I mean?
I think extends. I don't know. Now I'm confused. I thought it just made you bigger. I thought it was like a placebo pill that just gave you thought
Possibly.
thought you grew a little bit. But let's move on.
They don't make shoes though.
I don't think they
Not
do.
a shoe brand that our
No.
viewers would wear.
All right, I'm gonna just move on without you.
All right. All right, go ahead.
All right, up next, let's get into some value running backs. Let's start off with just some value running backs that you drafted this year that ended up turning your team around, and maybe you got them in a prime spot where others were overpaying for players that ended up having duds this season.
Well, I think my biggest strike of gold this entire season that I'm sure some viewers can agree with is copying James Robinson off of the waivers probably like week 2, maybe after week 1. I don't even remember. I ended up getting him in all 3 of my leagues that I'm in, and some leagues I kept him, some leagues I packaged him for some trades. Some of those trades worked out, some of them did not. But the fact of the matter is James Robinson, you got him for dirt cheap, literally nothing. Maybe if you have like a league that has waiver bidding, you had to pay some money. But no matter what you paid, it ended up being worth it. He's a top 5 running back on the season, I believe. Just probably most valuable scoop of the season, I would say. Who's yours? I guess we have a couple, but I'm curious
Yeah,
who we'll hear you next.
I really like James Robinson though. He's already rushed for 968 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Good
He
Lord.
has. Isn't that just insane? Let's see how many.
I mean, he's been so consistent week in, week out. He's always been involved in the passing game. I mean, he's
His
had his lowest amount of carries was 11 in week 3, and he had 30 points that week because he had 6 receptions and 2 touchdowns as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. He has 310 receiving yards on the season. He's
Oh,
going to
here, I can
be,
actually look. I added him from free agency September 9th.
I think that was
Oh, wait.
before the
Yeah,
season.
no, that was September 12th. I added him from free agency. Sorry.
Damn. Yeah, what a
Then
scoop, though.
flipped his ass. Yeah.
So good. All right, the next one, I'll stick with the rookie running backs that are just blowing you away.
Let's hear
Myles
him.
Gaskin. That dude has been
Mm.
phenomenal other than when he was injured. Never would have thought they brought in Matt Breida. They brought in Jordan Howard, which of course didn't work out. But Matt Breida, he's a stud. I expected him to do some stuff. And then this undrafted rookie from Washington comes out of nowhere, puts the team
Yeah,
on his back, dude.
I feel like him and James Robinson both really came out of nowhere. They're both free, like,
Undrafted free agents.
yes, thank you. I could not think of it. The word thank you for the assist. Yeah, I mean, great, phenomenal. I'm trying to see when he was added. Someone in our league got him mid-September, so that was probably after the first few weeks.
Yeah, that's just wild. I think the
And
running
coming
back.
into the season, you thought it was going to be Jordan Howard, Matt Breida. Matt Breida coming from San Francisco, where he looked pretty like he always dealt with injuries, but he looked explosive when he had the football in his hand. I definitely thought Matt Breida would be like a solid late round scoop, as
I,
in like what Myles Gaskin became.
I did as well because he actually played really well when he was still in Minnesota, but injuries got him. They got him
Dang.
good.
My next, do you have anything left to say before we move on? Anything left about Myles Gaskin you want to say?
I think we're good.
I got one more value player. Well, actually, who's your other value player? Do you have any more value players that you want to talk about?
I
I
have
don't want to
another.
say something.
I have another rookie,
Oh,
Antonio Gibson.
oh,
He definitely didn't start off the season how you want. I think they really worked him in slowly, but these past few weeks, except for this week because he got hurt, but he's been a stud. You definitely got him super late. I know a lot of people were really hyping him up at the beginning of the season, and I was not on board, but now I am. I think he's a great player. It's crazy, all these rookie running backs. I think the running back future is definitely set for next season.
yeah, I think so too. I think too with Antonio Gibson, if you had the wherewithal to draft him at a valuable spot, you knew you weren't going to be able to start him. You knew you were going to have to stash him for a while before that investment really paid off. So I feel like a lot of people who took the shot on Antonio Gibson, well, hopefully you didn't necessarily take a shot and draft him higher than you should have, because of course it's all relative to where you draft someone on if they're valuable or not. It's like I think I took Antonio Gibson like in like round 9 or later, and I don't know if round 9 might be a bit too high, but yeah, I don't know where you drafted him. You probably knew that he wasn't going to see immediate workload, so you just kind of had to ride it out, and it really paid off.
Are you
Except,
flexing? Are you flexing right now? I
yeah,
mean,
bro, I'm
yeah,
flexing.
I drafted him in like the ninth
Yeah,
round. If you're
yeah,
smart enough to do it like I
I
did,
guess
then
if you have a pro GM brain, I don't know. I'm out here. The New York Jets are looking for a new general manager. I think I'm your guy.
are you? I don't even
I'm the
have a
guy.
response to that. The
That
the
was just me. That was just me giving a tryout to the Jets.
the
All right, let
utter
me give you
confidence.
my last value running back, and then should we move on to our next category?
Yeah, let's do it.
My last player is Kareem Hunt. It
Oh,
obviously it's relative to where you drafted him, but you knew that you were kind of taking a shot on Kareem Hunt. Well, I don't know. He had like some solid performances heading into this season from last season, but there's obviously skepticism with him with Nick Chubb in that backfield. So you probably got him at a discount, and then you got a running back one for like 6 to 7 weeks. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't ask for much more than that.
that's very true. It does suck that recently, now that Chubb's back, he's kind of dwindled, but he probably got you into the playoffs, so you can't even be mad at it.
True. And he still gets a significantly more work than a lot of other running backs too. So even a diminished workload, Kareem Hunt is better than a lot of other players.
Do you have any value running backs for this week in particular? I
This
got
week in particular,
I got a few here if you need me to go.
I really only have one person in mind, and I think that he might be on your list as well.
I'll let you go ahead and tell them tell the
Okay.
people.
My value pick for the week would be Ty Johnson against the
Oh,
Seahawks.
I like
Uh,
that.
you can pick him up off your waivers right now because he was on nobody's team, so he's accessible to probably everyone. Great matchup against the Seahawks. He had like 20 plus carries, involvement in the passing game, so that type of work is going to be needed against the Seahawks.
That's a great pick. Definitely was on my list. My next player on the value running backs, I think. I don't know if you could necessarily say he's a value at this point anymore, but you picked him up off waivers. It's going to be Wayne Gallman.
Ooh,
Six touchdowns in 6 weeks. That's absurd. Last week he had 16 carries, 135 yards. He should have had a touchdown, but Alfred Morris came in there and poached it after he busted off like a 65-yard run. Really impressive stuff. Yeah, I scooped him up. That's my flex.
Hell yeah.
and literally my flex play. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
nice.
No, he's my RB2. But
Yeah, that sounds like the type of ship you're running over there.
dude, man, the team's been struggling this year.
Uh,
You don't change your name to IR, injured reserve.
hey,
You
bro, do
don't
you want to
got
hear my running? You
problems.
want to hear my running back too?
No, I don't even care about your team.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Wayne Gallman, though, he's a monster. I think going forward, even with when Devonta Freeman comes back, this dude's earned the role of the running back one. If you take that away from him, that's just dumb. But I'll move on to my second pick,
Let's hear it.
which is JD McKissic. Definitely had his time to shine when Antonio Gibson was still a little bit on the down low. Alex Smith just started. He bounced off 2 17-point games into a 10-point game, and then had his 5-point game. But now that Antonio Gibson's out, 10 catches last week, I think he's going to be the main guy back there snap wise. Peyton Barber will definitely see some work, but Alex Smith is going to throw to him for sure. I like their matchup this week. I think JD McKissic probably going to have himself another 17-point game because it doesn't look like he can score more than that.
Dude, and two, looking at his playoff schedule, 49ers, which I think really benefits JD McKissic. Tougher defense, but football team should be trying to play catch up a bit and have to involve him in the passing game. Then you got the Seahawks and the Panthers. Seahawks, they're 100% going to be playing catch up. Panthers, horrible run defense. Probably be a pretty competitive game. He should be able to make the most of his opportunities in that game.
Yeah, and the best part is like when they play against good corners, JD McKissic thrives because Terry McLaurin doesn't get 15 targets.
Yeah,
that's what happened this week. I think Richard Sherman will definitely tell the young blood what's up. I like JD.
Yeah, I do too. Great value on the season, especially with I don't know how long Antonio Gibson's going to be out, but I don't think you can expect to see him this upcoming week, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, if you get rolled out immediately, you're probably not going to play the next week.
Yeah. Should we move on to disappointment running backs on the season?
We should. I'll let you start us off.
Do you want me to read a couple or just one, and we'll alternate?
Whatever you want to do. You're the DJ.
I'll list off 3 for now.
Okay.
My 3 running back disappointments on the season are Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because you drafted him in a lot of instances in the first round, high second round. Both are too high. I mean, he started off the season relatively strong, but just as the season's developed, Patrick Mahomes is just going to divvy out touchdowns to his wide receivers. There's not much. There just hasn't been much for the running backs. Some weeks it's there, but they don't need to rely on a run game much. My second disappointment on the season is, I believe, a player you also have on your list, and it is Ezekiel Elliot, a running back that you took with the top 4 picks probably.
And he wasn't a disappointment until Dak went down.
Yeah, but to be honest, that was pretty early into the season.
Yeah, I mean, overall, definitely a disappointment.
Yeah, up until Dak went down, and what was it? Week 6?
Somewhere
against
around
the
there.
Cardinals. There's a significant drop off in Ezekiel Elliott's production, though. So you had about half the season of Zeke.
Dude, too many quarterbacks have had their foot turned around this season. That shit is not okay.
Completely agree.
Why the NFL insists on showing the replays, I'll never know. I mean, I guess people want to see.
Yeah, I kind of want to see, but I don't at the same time.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I saw it the first time, though, so I'm like, oh, bro, enough.
True. Most of the time I miss it the first time, so I'm like, whoa, what happened? Let me see.
This shit is nasty.
I had to go back. I had to find some YouTube videos of Joe Burrow's ACL tear.
Oh, did you see his foot?
I saw his leg got hyperextended, to put it politely.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, it was. I think his foot was backward. No, yeah, he had his. You could see the bone pop out of his leg for a second. I think.
Yeah, dude. When I was watching his video, I was like clenching up a bit. I was like, "Oh, Joe."
I'm pretty injury prone too, so that really hit home with me.
Nice.
If I
Oh
break
God.
another collarbone again, I'll actually die.
Damn. Shout out.
Shout out the
I
boys.
guess I'll give you my next running back disappointment. Kind of forgot about him as the season went on because you went the whole season without him, and that's Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah, he just fucked you.
Yeah, you drafted him either first or second overall because he wasn't making it past those two. I find it highly unlikely. I guess maybe in some instances. He's a top 5 running back. You had him for what, one game? Didn't he tear his ACL like the first or second game of the season?
Yeah, second, I'm pretty sure. Because they played the
And like
Steelers. The first game, he had a
yeah,
terrible game.
yeah, first game he did not look great.
It's unfortunate. Should I go ahead and read my list?
Yeah, go ahead. I have a few extra players if
Oh,
you say
okay.
some if I have some left over. So go right ahead.
You already touched on Zeke. That was my number one. It's unfortunate. Definitely could have been better, but it is what it is. You wasted a high pick on him. Sometimes that's fantasy for you. I drafted Austin Ekeler. He fucked me most of the season, so it just happens. My next one, though, is Miles Sanders. Started off all right, had some good weeks here and there. When he went down with that injury, though, that was tough. And then you just relied on him to come back and come back strong. But then Carson Wentz is so poor in that offense that it ended up just screwing up everything. Miles Sanders' value has gone down every single week. Maybe with Jalen Hurts, it'll be different, but it's so unfortunate. And I feel
Yeah.
bad for all the Miles Sanders owners out there. Do you think the Eagles are going to be better without Carson Wentz?
Nah, not a chance. I don't think so.
He's
I
so
think they'll be
bad.
just I think they'll be equally as bad. I don't think it's just the Carson Wentz problem with that team.
He's like
But
Derek Carr. He just takes sacks for no reason.
nah, I mean like I get like the Carson Wentz hold on to the ball at a play development mentality, which leads to him getting sacked because his offensive line just can't hold him that long. Maybe it's too much to ask for. Maybe they just are struggling.
He's
I
also
don't really know.
he's also like the most inaccurate quarterback with open receivers this year.
I have heard that statistic as well, which I mean, yeah, you can't defend that. Carson Wentz has not looked good this season. I don't think
No,
Carson Wentz is as bad as he has played this season, though. I mean, there are seasons where he's an MVP caliber quarterback, but we
that
could
was
just
one
see.
season.
Yeah, it was one season. I mean, but like then the season where he tore his ACL, he looked really good too.
That was
Or
the
that may have been the
season.
same season.
That
Yeah.
was the season.
So I mean, I don't know. His mentality or like his like mental stability could just be compromised at this point, and he may never reach that again. Which I mean,
You think he'll
is
need?
is an outcome.
You think he just needs a new team?
I think so. I don't see Jalen Hurts stepping in for Carson Wentz and being more successful than he was. That's
That's
just my opinion. What do you think?
that's a fair point. Yeah, I think it'll probably be just about the same. But since he's a rookie, you'll probably see more flashes of good things. But then he'll just make the same rookie mistakes that Carson Wentz was making, which is what Carson Wentz was doing, was just making rookie mistakes.
Yeah,
It was almost like he thought he was better than he was. Like
maybe.
he just thinks I'm Aaron Rodgers and then I can extend this play and then takes a sack. Or, oh, I'm going to hit this guy streaking and then throws a pick. It's just absurd. I'll move
Either
on
way,
though.
you had to give Jalen Hurts the start though. Otherwise, the city of Philadelphia would be aflames this upcoming Sunday.
They should have done it weeks ago.
True. Yeah. Honestly, do you have
All right.
any more disappointing running backs on the
Yeah,
season?
my last one is Joe Mixon.
Oh,
Very
nice.
very similar to Miles Sanders, but when he was playing, he was just not producing. I think that has to do a lot with just lack of offensive line there. That offense is just not that good. Joe Burrow was the best thing they had going for him. And now that he's gone, even when they come back, I just don't see anything getting better, to be honest.
Yeah, Joe Mixon has always been a product of quantity, not quality. He just gets like 20 plus carries each week, and that's what you're hoping will win you the week. But he's not necessarily like being efficient or looking explosive with those carries.
Yeah. And then he has a good game, and then all of a sudden you have faith in him again, and then he burns you 3 weeks in a row.
Exactly. he gives you just enough faith to feel good about starting him. I don't know. Yeah, I avoided Joe Mixon in all of my leagues.
Yeah, we always talk about that. Fuck Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish this off.
Yeah, I have a few more players. One of them is I don't know if it'll qualify as a disappointment because this player may win you your championships, and that's Christian McCaffrey, who has only played like 3 games this season, but has looked like Christian McCaffrey in all 3 of those games. Or I don't know if 3 games is the right count, but in all the games he's played, he's looked phenomenal. His availability just hasn't been there. So if you've managed to make it to the playoffs and you have Christian McCaffrey, I mean, chances are, yeah, he's played 3 games and averaged like 20, 26 points across those. But yeah, no, if you were able to make the playoffs with Christian McCaffrey, it's looking pretty good for you at this point. So I don't know if he counts as a disappointment because of that, but on the season, he could have lost you your entire season. So has to be a disappointment just for that reason. My last player is James Conner.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think you were excited. I mean, Steelers love to run the football. You know that. You drafted him probably with the hopes that he's getting 20 carries each week, and his availability has been limited just due to injury, now sickness. When he's had the ball, he has not made the most of his opportunities and not looking efficient or explosive. So, I mean, for that reason, you're kind of stuck playing him, and it's probably been losing you a lot of football games.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I like him as a person, but yeah, his production this year has been subpar at best. Should we
And
end
it felt
on
like hype.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it felt like there was a lot of hype for James Conner going into the season, which probably led a lot of people to draft him up.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I think we should end on a high note before we get into these rankings. Let's talk about who are the best running backs this season. Who won you your league? Who did you draft when other people didn't believe in him? You passed up on some players and you scooped this player, and now you got the dub. Who you got first?
I have a real underdog pick for you. Alvin Kamara.
Oh man, what a surprise!
So slept on, dude. He's my value pick of the season. Alvin Kamara, you had to draft him in the top 5 running backs, and you need those top 5 running backs to win championships. And Alvin Kamara, there were some people who questioned him because of injuries, availability in general. But the fact of the matter is when he has the ball, he's one of the most elite running backs in the league. And if you took him, chances are you took someone else took Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and you're left with Alvin Kamara, and hopefully that's who you took. Yeah, you've really benefited from the fruits of his labor.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were down on him because of his injury last year, thinking he can't do it, but he's a monster. That offense, when Drew Brees is there, he loves to throw a check down. I think it's benefited him a lot. I'll move on to my next guy, though.
Let's hear it.
The Madden character himself, Derrick Henry. He's already rushed for 1,317 yards, which is just absurd. He has 12 rushing touchdowns. It's honestly insane to think about that he's just going to get better as the season goes on. Now the teams are worn down. Now that the weather's getting worse, people are going to have to run the Brock more. It's
True.
just, he's so fun to watch. And a lot of people were definitely not trying to take him as high as he was projected and where he ended up going, but it ended up paying dividends.
If you had a top 5 pick, would you have taken Derrick Henry? At this point, would you take Derrick Henry with the top 5 pick if you did a redraft?
Oh, for sure. I think you take him 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to.
I think
that's where he is. Yeah.
Yeah. You take Kamara, Henry, Cook, maybe mix that order up, but that's the 3 I'm probably taking.
Yeah. Ooh, I actually just thought of another player that we have not discussed like prior to this, because our list for best running backs on the season was identical. But I just thought of another player that I want to throw the name in here, and it's Aaron Jones.
Bro, I was thinking about Aaron Jones too, because
he has been. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh no, please go ahead, sir.
Bro, don't do this cute shit with me. Go.
Aaron Jones has been he's had a few weeks that he missed due to injuries, but the Packers have just been super careful with their players because they know down the playoffs they're going to rely on these guys because they're superstars. So they were definitely a little careful in when he was dealing with his injury back in week 7 and 8. But every week that he's stepped on the field, I mean, he's giving you double-digit points. I mean, week 2 he gave you 44 against the Lions. Guess what? Round 1 of the playoffs, who does he have? The Detroit Lions. So,
Easy.
I mean, yeah, his playoff schedule is so good. I can't believe we didn't talk about him in our rest of season's rankings. Did we? Like as like a I don't well, he was definitely obviously in our rest of season rankings, but we may have ranked him lower than he actually deserved to be. Got the Detroit Lions, Carolina Panthers, and Tennessee Titans in your fantasy playoffs. I mean, he's been a beast too. I mean, they can involve him in the passing game. They can use him different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Aaron Jones, baby.
I think the best part about him too was he was down in that 10 to 14 range. End of round 1, beginning of round 2. And there are weeks he can be a top 5 player when he's healthy. The injury was a bit of something that could have hurt you, but overall, he's just been a stud.
Yeah.
I think James Robinson too. I know we had him in the value, but let alone he's just been standing alone. He's been one of the best running backs in the league, and he's probably winning tons of people their league this year.
Yeah, 100%. He's positionally ranked number 4 on the season, and this is a guy that you scooped for free off the waivers.
Literally for free.
Yeah, I mean his numbers are ridiculous. The amount of work he gets on a weekly basis. There's only a select few running backs who get this consistent amount of work.
Did we talk about Dalvin Cook yet?
Oh, we have not talked about Dalvin Cook. I think that was our mutual last player. Dalvin Cook.
Man, he's been phenomenal. I think
also had 1 week where he went out with injury, but I mean, I think there's a lot of people nervous to draft Dalvin Cook because of his injury history.
How do you think this proves going forward that you think he's got it still?
It's so hard to talk about injury because injuries can hit anyone. I do think there are players that are more injury prone than others, of course. Dalvin Cook, honestly, probably being one of them. I mean, you didn't get the full. He missed the game this season. I mean, that's not necessarily going to cost you your playoffs, but some of those wins really matter. And that he's been such a playmaker for your team. He's basically been carrying your team. But yeah, no, his availability this season has been much better than in past, and I think he's going to win a lot of people championships.
100%.
I do have to say though, I'm looking at his playoff schedule. I think he's a matchup proof player, but he does have a tough schedule. I mean, obviously you're playing Dalvin Cook every week, but he has the Bucks, Bears, and then the Saints.
Oh yeah, that is pretty rough. I think he'll make it work though.
Yeah.
That's tough for the Vikings team though.
He's such a focal point of that offense too.
That's for sure.
That to win, they need to involve Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, because Kirk relies so much on play action that if they don't have him going, then nothing's going to work.
Exactly.
All right, man. I think it's time. Let's get into these rankings. I'll start us off here. I'll read 40 through 31. We'll just touch on a few players here and there. Since we check the analytics, most people don't really listen to the rankings anyways. So if you got a question or something, just drop us in the comment. We'll give you the best reply we can. Hopefully we can help you out. At 40, we have Latavius Murray. 39, Jeff Wilson Jr. 38, J.K. Dobbins. 37, James White. 36, Devontae Booker. 35, Leonard Fournette. 34, Todd Gurley. 33, Devin Singletary. 32, Chase Edmonds. 31, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I have a player out of this grouping I want to talk about.
Let's hear about it.
And that is Devontae Booker. I saw a lot of people getting really excited to play Devontae Booker without Josh Jacobs. I don't know why. We've seen Devontae Booker in this league and what he does when he has the football. He hasn't been good enough to be a starting running back up until this point. He competed with Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay last week. Bro. crazy.
You hear me?
Oh
You
my
hear this, man?
God.
Yo,
Yeah.
let me, we're going to take 5. I'll be right
Oh my
back.
God. All right, we're back from getting interrupted by Justin's bitch ass cat that doesn't even like to be actually I guess you said he's changed his ways. Did not like to be cuddled when I knew him though. So I was saying Devontae Booker, a lot of people are excited to play him because of Josh Jacobs' workload, but Devontae Booker is not Josh Jacobs. He's not he's not an elite talented running back. He's not going to be able to give you that yardage that Josh Jacobs, that explosiveness that Josh Jacobs has. Yeah, I think us keeping him ranked down lower he is going to get the volume, has a tough matchup, but he just doesn't have the talent to be an elite running back that's going to make us excited to play Devontae Booker. He's kind of a last resort, in my opinion.
And that's coming from a Raiders fan, so that's true right there. Have you just not been excited when he's on the field?
No, when he's in limited roles, he's explosive and adds like a nice amount of like energy and like excitement to the offense. But he can't. He's just not a player that's going to handle a full workload. And this is just pure speculation based off of previous seasons and the fact that he isn't a starting running back at this point in his career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would have already shown it if he could have done it. I see what you mean.
Exactly. And he was competing with Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay last season and didn't see the ball much because of the competition amongst them. I mean, Philip Lindsay's a good running back, but I mean, it just goes to show that he was the third whistle in that backfield.
100%. The player I want to talk about is Todd Gurley and his fall from grace. We argued about this a lot. David Johnson or Todd Gurley, and you were very adamant that Todd Gurley was the truth, and he is not the truth. Honestly, he could not be on the list right now, and I would be okay with it. I think you just have to put him there because of his potential.
Yeah.
But he ran the ball 8 times for 16 yards. Ito Smith also ran the ball for 8 times and had 36 yards.
I mean, I think they were testing out his knee last week, and he just didn't have the juice. And I don't think that that's necessarily going to come back this week either against the Chargers.
8 carries for 16 yards, but he had a 13-yard run.
Rough.
I mean, he had 7 carries for 3 yards.
The Saints are one of the best run defenses, if not the best run defense in the league, though. So, I mean, you weren't starting Todd. I hope you didn't have to start Todd Gurley last week. That was a very obvious coming off of an injury against the toughest run defense. I was just like, I hope no one's having to start Todd Gurley this week.
Ito Smith outsnapped him 36 to 33%. Just not good.
I mean, yeah, not a huge difference. I think that they'll still use Todd Gurley in red zone situations against the Chargers. That's what they've used him for all year. That's kind of what he's best at. It'll just be a matter of that. I think that the Chargers matchup isn't necessarily anything that frightens me, but I'm definitely trying to stay away from Todd Gurley.
I feel the same way.
Did you read up to 30? You stopped at 31, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to proceed on with the next players. At 30, we have Nyheim Hines. 29, we have Peyton Barber. 28, we have Ronald Jones. At 27, we have a classic cop-out. We have James Conner and Benny Snell. At 26, we have Raheem Mostert. At 25, we have Cam Akers. At 24, we have Ty Johnson. At 23, we have Damien Harris. At 22, we have Jonathon Taylor. And at 21, we have Miles Sanders.
First name that I want to talk about is our James Conner, Benny Snell cop-out. I don't really think it matters if James Conner or Benny Snell plays. They're both going to see the same workload, which is little to none. They have a potential for touchdown just because of how explosive the offense is. So that's the only reason that they could even be relevant in this list. I think a lot of the players below have better volume share, just less touchdown potential. It just sucks to see them so far down from grace.
Yeah. I guess we kind of talked about it, how he's been disappointing on the season in its entirety. And you know that he's going to get the work, and just the ranking that we have him at just kind of is reflective of what he's done for you this whole season.
100%.
I guess out of this grouping, I would love to talk about, there's actually a handful of very interesting players, but I'm going to pick out Cam Akers.
Ooh,
just because of his recent successes the past few weeks has given you double-digit carries, which is probably the first time this entire season. And he's really stood out amongst those running backs. This past week, he had 63% of the snaps. I think the next person may have been, who knows, Malcolm Brown, Darrell Henderson. They're the same player. But it looks like they're giving Cam Akers the work and the volume that you were kind of hoping would happen. Consistency on if that's what they'll do is it's unknown at this point, because I mean they haven't shown that that's what they're going to do up until the past few weeks. So that sample size is not trustworthy, and this could be a recency bias as well, having him at this height on the list. But Patriots matchup, not terrible. It'll be, if he continues to get that workload, I think he'll be up in the rankings as the playoffs progress.
I like it. All right, I'm going to read off 20 to 11 now. Here we go. At 20, we got Kareem Hunt. 19, Melvin Gordon. 18, David Johnson. 17, Joe Mixon. 16, Ezekiel Elliot. 15, Kenyan Drake. 14, J.D. McKissic. Up next, we got DeAndre Swift. Then 12, we have Wayne Gallman. And 11, we have Myles Gaskin. This is where things start to get juicy. A lot of trustworthy names, a lot of untrustworthy names. I want to talk about Ezekiel Elliot, though.
What you got to say about Zeke?
He's taken on the Bengals. As of this moment, there's 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the Cowboys-Ravens game, and Ezekiel Elliott has rushed for 78 yards on 15 carries. He has 2 catches for 2 yards. So he's producing somewhat, 9.8 fantasy points in PPR. I think this upcoming week against the Bengals, I like him a lot more. With Andy Dalton there, kind of finding a role, which is sad that he had to find a role after they paid him so much. But I think Ezekiel Elliott is still a talented player. Definitely a disappointment, like we mentioned, but I think going forward, every single week, he's going to get better. Hopefully, you made it to the playoffs with Zeke. If you didn't, you already know.
Sorry. You're probably not listening at this point.
No, fuck Ezekiel
Disengaged
Elliott.
Completely. Out of this list of players, I kind of want to talk about Kenyan Drake. I feel like he's probably been one of the players throughout the entire season that has differed on our opinion a lot, I would say. I feel like I've tended to be higher on Kenyan Drake than you most of the time. But he's definitely he makes me nervous, especially going into the playoffs, because he's such a touchdown-dependent player. He gets the volume, but just the touchdown dependency is not something that you're wanting. We kind of saw what relying on someone like Todd Gurley does. It ends up burning you. And I'm a little worried heading into the playoffs that is what could happen to a lot of people with Kenyan Drake, that he's going to get those touchdowns taken away from either Kyler Murray or they choose to go to Chase Edmonds as well, who's also a very explosive player. But I mean, Kenyan Drake, his volume is just kind of undeniable. So you're playing him week in and week out just for that alone. But confidence every week is always dwindling, I would say.
I could not agree more. I just want to touch on Wayne Gallman real quick. We mentioned him earlier, but I like his matchup against the Cardinals. I think Daniel Jones should be back. Even if he's not, he's going to be explosive. I think going forward, he's definitely a running back 1, running back 2 rest of the season.
All right, let's get into the top 10 running backs on the week. At number 10, we have David Montgomery. At 9, we have Nick Chubb. 8, we have Alvin Kamara. At 7, Chris Carson. 6, Austin Ekeler. 5, Dalvin Cook. 4, James Robinson. 3, Aaron Jones. 2, the return of Christian McCaffrey. And at 1, Derrick Henry. I think out of this listing, the player that interests me the most to kind of hear your take on is David Montgomery, because he's been really picking up steam the past few weeks. A couple of 20-plus fantasy performances where he had touchdowns, which is something that's been very limited for him. And he has a really good schedule coming up where, I mean, we mutually put him at 10, I would say. But what do you think about the recent David Montgomery outbreak
I think it makes sense. His best fantasy games have been with Mitch Trubisky, and now that he's back, he's thriving once again. I like the fact that Mitch Trubisky can open up more running lanes just solely on the fact that he is also an explosive runner. So I think it just opens up some space for him on the field. Mitchell Trubisky is not as competent of a thrower, so he probably looks David Montgomery's way a little more than Nick Foles does. I think Nick Foles was trying to make too many tough throws. That's why he throws a lot of picks in the first place. He's kind of got that Ryan Fitzpatrick vibe to him where he knows where the ball should go and he's going to put it there no matter what. And sometimes it works out. It obviously didn't work out for the most part. But I like him going forward. I think his playoff matchups are incredibly juicy.
They really are. Texans, Vikings, Jacksonville Jags, none of those frighten you.
No, those are all great matchups.
Yeah.
The player I wanted to talk about is Austin Ekeler, coming off one of the worst games of the season for him. Only carried the ball 8 times, only caught 4 passes, and the Chargers just got the piss beat out of him by the Patriots. 2 special teams touchdowns. So what are you going to do when you have a punt return and a kick blocked for a touchdown? It can't go your way. You know that's not your game. But I still have full faith in Austin Ekeler. I think he'll bounce back this week against the Falcons. He still saw 9 targets, so that's more production than most running backs would get. That's good for a wide receiver. I have complete faith in Austin Ekeler. It sucks he didn't produce for you last week. You were probably relying on him in his second week back. But I think going forward, he's got some solid matchups. They could be worse. And overall, he's just a talented player. Atlanta, Las Vegas, Denver. The Denver matchup could be bad. Depends how Denver wants to play that game.
I think this is a Austin Ekeler bounce back week too. To me, this has him written all over it. This matchup, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. And Austin Ekeler, I think it will really bounce back this week, just in time for playoffs too. Thanks for checking out this week's episode, guys. I know some of you are making that final playoff push. Stick with us. We'll definitely continue to give you advice. Leave comments if you want. Also, let us know what type of off-season content you would like. We're definitely running out of weeks and running out of videos to give you guys. We have some ideas in mind, but we'd love to hear what you guys would like to see too. So drop us a comment.